Hello and welcome to India Today Global. I am Pranay Upadhyay and today is a proud day for every Indian because after 41 years, an Indian is in space. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is on his way to International Space Station. This is his first journey to space, and not only his first journey but also the first journey of an Indian to International Space Station. He is encircling the planet Earth with the speed of 7 kilometers per second, and he is on his way to International Space Station. Almost after 24 hours, he will be docking on his Dragon capsule along with other astronauts to the International Space Station. It is a historic moment for every Indian, and that's why let us discuss what is the significance of this journey, and from here how India is going to progress the space flight of humans in space. So I'm being joined by Group Captain Ajey Lele, retired Air Force officer and an analyst of ACE experience, and his academics is excellent as far as the space flights are concerned, as far as the space domain is concerned. So welcome to India Today Global.
Thank you.
So my first question to you is what is the significance of this flight, and from here onward, how our journey to human space flights is going to progress?
I think before getting into the significance, I must say that today every Indian is proud, and as a fellow Air Force officer, I am also proud as an Air Force officer after Rakesh Sharma has gone into the International Space Station, rather towards the space. If you see the entire journey of this particular mission, one should not look at this journey in isolation, because India has got a larger plan of establishing its own space station after a couple of years. But before that, our step one is going to be the Gaganyaan program, where we will send our own astronauts, around 3 astronauts, to the space, and they will get back subsequently. So that is going to be the first step. So to take this first step, I think this particular journey of Group Captain Shukla is going to be very vital, because there will be many learnings for him as an individual. Because all said and done, you do get trained on simulators and various other equipments, but actually handling things, staying in that zero gravity atmosphere is definitely going to make major amount of changes in his thinking than what he has been taught on the simulators. So under these circumstances, I think his journey should be looked at 2 to 3 levels. One is that it is a tremendous sort of achievement as a Air Force officer. He has been at it for quite some time now. Couple of years back, our 4 astronauts started getting trained as far as Russian systems are concerned.
Yes.
Subsequently, when they got back, they got trained to Indian systems. More so, I can say that in ISRO's training system. Now, since it is a mission by NASA, because you got a different type of spacecrafts, which is a Soyuz spacecraft, which is used by Russians, and now NASA is getting assistance from SpaceX, and Crew Dragon model is there. So certain amount of changes in the training activity was required. So he again got retrained into these types of things. So it is a tremendous achievement as an individual also, because to get trained on a particular thing for many years without realizing that when actually the mission is going to take place. Because if you see, this mission also got delayed 5 to 6 times, but today it has taken a very successful step.
Sir, I'm sure you must have also heard his message after entering the space. He has sent out a 1-minute message, and Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla said that he is very proud to have, tricolor on his sleeves, and he thinks that every Indian is with him on this journey.
Definitely. If you see, he was around, say, 50 kilometers of altitude or something at that point in time when he started delivering the message. He was very clear, he was very calm, he was very composed. Because at the end of the day, he is the pilot of the spacecraft. So he must be looking at various things irrespective of the spacecraft being fully autonomous. As a pilot, you're supposed to respond to any sort of emergencies. And for that purpose, you got to keep a track of what is actually happening when your craft is moving towards the International Space Station. So as a proud Indian, definitely he is in the thick of it right now. It's going to take a very long time. It's going to take 28 hours to reach to the International Space Station. You must have seen the photographs, how all these 4 astronauts are put into a particular position. So definitely it's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging from a human body's sustenance point of view also, because you are going to sit in a particular position not for 1 hour, 2 hours, but for 28 hours, and you got to be fully agile as a captain of that spacecraft. So challenges are
It's a
definitely.
very important point, Group Captain Lele. I would like you to explain to our viewers that how challenging it is, because we have seen that, like, this flight got delayed. There were a lot of issues related to the space launch. What goes through a pilot or any astronaut? What he goes through at a time when he has to keep the mental endurance and the physical endurance.
I think training definitely helps much more over here. And if you see the selection of a people also, Rakesh Sharma also was a test pilot. You take the case of Sunita Williams also. Now Shubhanshu Shukla is also a test pilot. Why I'm emphasizing on these issues over here is that because these people are trained into the entire aviation atmosphere, where they exactly know that there could be delays, there could be issues related with weather, there could be issues related with engines, there could be issues related with various technologies. So they are mentally tuned to do that thing. Because you put somebody in isolation for more than 20 days and then suddenly expect him to sit in a spacecraft and start operating it, it's definitely going to be challenging. Because he was put in a particular, all the four astronauts were definitely because they don't want to have any sort of a, you can say, spread of a disease or some viral infection or something before they are going. So they were definitely kept away from everybody. But I think that these people have been trained. And if you have seen Sunita Williams' case also, and
Yes.
she went there for 9 days and she got stuck for 9 months, but she was hearty and smiling all the way. So it actually amounts to your training in Air Force and your subsequent training as an astronaut.
So, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla would also be carrying out certain experiments there. So, can you explain our viewers that, what these experiments would be and what type of experiments, how India is going to gain out of these experiments and will help our ISRO's future, Vyomnaut missions or Gaganyaan mission?
If you see these experiments, there are 7 experiments where India, these are made in India experiments. Basically, a Department of Biotechnology, then Indian Institute of Sciences, they are all involved into developing these experiments. Then there could be certain common experiments which he is going to do along with the NASA also. So there could be around 5 experiments that India and NASA will be collaborating and doing it. Then there are other smaller experiments where particularly the insulin levels of the astronauts, whether the diabetic person can travel to the space and all that. So these experiments are also getting conducted. So these astronauts will have some sort of a patch on their body and they will be monitored 24/7 as far as their glucose levels are concerned. So these are smaller experiments where the astronauts are not supposed to do anything. But as far as the 7 specific experiments are there, those experiments are very well thought of experiments. Because India wants to subsequently take a step where we will send our own astronauts with a Gaganyaan mission, and subsequently we are establishing our own space station. And the further dream is that we want to send a human to the moon also by 2040 or beyond that. So under those circumstances, we need to understand that what sort of a food which will be palatable to the pilots, to the astronauts when they are going to undertake these missions. So there are a lot of experiments which are associated with food part of it. Then there are experiments which are associated with your muscle strength and other things. Because when you are going to International Space Station, you are only traveling a distance of around 400 kilometers, the altitude. But when you go towards the moon, you're going to travel a distance of around 4 lakh kilometers. So definitely there is going to be a wear and tear as far as human body is concerned. So certain experiments are being done over there as far as these aspects are concerned. And there are certain experiments which are associated with certain amount of algae and certain amount of microorganisms which are related with oxygen also. Because as you know that when you go to any mission to the space, even carrying half a kg or 1 kg costs tremendous amount of money. So now in the future, people are thinking that whether they can do many things out over there only instead of carrying the stuff from the surface of the earth. So under those circumstances, experiment related with oxygen are going to help. Then there could be few other experiments also, because if you see the entire structure of this particular mission, there are almost 28 countries or 31 countries who are involved in various experimentation, and it is said that there could be around 60 or 60 plus experiments. So there are various experiments which have been planned in such a fashion that for future space missions will we get certain amount of advantage of these types of things. Because tomorrow when you are going to go to the moon, when you are going to go to the Mars, you're going to establish human colonies over there. I'm not saying of tomorrow, I'm saying of after a few decades or so. But you need to do these types of experiments at a start process now. Then only you will be able to establish that dream of having human humans colonizing Moon or Mars.
So, since he's our pilot, he's our Air Force officer, and on an international space station mission and journey, how ISRO is going to remain in coordination with NASA for this mission, and will there be a direct contact between ISRO and the mission directors there?
Definitely. If you see this mission, there are 4 parts of this mission. One is NASA, other is ISRO, third is SpaceX, which is having a Crew Dragon capsule and Falcon 9 rocket, and it is Axiom, which is a company which is taking astronauts by paying a cost to the International Space Station. So this is the 4th mission undertaken by Axiom. Axiom also has got a plans of establishing the first private space station out into the space. So various experiments which have been associated, where every agency has got something and something or other is associated with their own development. As far as Air Force and ISRO are concerned, they are working perfectly in tandem. So I will not identify that somebody is from Air Force and somebody is from ISRO. I think it is a unit India which is working out over there.
Definitely, sir. It's a very proud thing because we are part of a global mission, because astronauts from various nationalities are there, and also many companies, private and government, institutions are involved in this mission. This is going to really help India, as you really rightly mentioned, for our Gaganyaan mission. But can we call Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla as India's Vyomnaut?
Yeah, these are all semantics.
Yeah, because this is what we have coined a name for our astronauts.
No, why not?
Yeah.
Subsequently, when you're sending somebody, because even today, if a Russian astronaut goes, he's known as a cosmonaut.
Yeah.
So definitely, why not India should have its own name? Chinese astronauts. Right now, there are 6 Chinese astronauts also out in the space on Chinese space station. So they are having a different type of a name. So I fully agree with you that we should have our own name for our own astronauts.
So India has also planned, envisaged a future mission to have, part of an international space station, or have international space, station there, out in there. How ambitious is this plan, and can we realize what are we going to achieve out of these plans?
I think this is a very ambitious plan. One has to look at this plan at 2 levels. One is that there is a huge amount of scientific prestige which is going to be at stake, because ISRO is doing so well for all these years, a lot of successes in various missions. Because for a country like India, with when we became a spacefaring nation way back in 1980, the progress has been very phenomenal, one can say. So as far as space station is concerned, yes, we got an ambition of having our own space station, because International Space Station actually emerged as an experiment between 5 major powers or 5 major space agencies. One is NASA, there is a Russian agency, then you had JAXA, that is a Japanese agency, Canada was there, and one more, Europe was a part of it. As far as India's space station is concerned, it's going to be a space station of India alone, the way China is having their own space station. So we will not have as big a module as what we can see on an international space station, because that's going to be the first step as far as India is concerned. So we will have a smaller space station, and as time progresses, as we understand that doing science into microgravity atmosphere, how helpful it is for our scientific community, and subsequently for the society also, because at the end of the day, you are making all these experiments, all these investments, that one day or other they will help the society. So one has to really look at it as a long-term project. That's why I said that I am not looking at this particular mission Axiom 4 in isolation. It is part of a larger, you can say,
larger objective and a longer journey. Coming back to the journey of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, Group Captain Lele, I would like you to help our viewers to understand, as a pilot, you normally take sorties. Even as a test pilot, you have frequent sorties, but the duration of that sorties are limited, not for over 20 hours or 24 hours. You mentioned it, this is going to be a 28 hours plus journey. How difficult it is for a pilot to remain awake, to remain agile, and as a mission pilot, he has to look at many things.
You see, as far as workload is concerned, when you got 4 astronauts, it's not that every astronaut is doing everything. So there will be a distribution of a workload. That is number 1. And number 2 is that I agree that as a pilot, as a fighter pilot, you will have a sortie, say for 45 minutes, you can have a sortie for 1 hour or something. But these sorties are not fully autonomous. As far as this particular mission is concerned, the entire structure is fully autonomous. So from that point of view, there are limited amount of challenges which, as a pilot, which he or she will have when they are flying a fighter aircraft. Number two is that, as I was already making a mention, you look at the type of a training which he has undergone. He has undergone training almost for 3 to 4 years. So with this type of a training to undertake these missions, so it's not that he has just got out of a cockpit and sat into a spacecraft. So he has been trained for all those things. So when we are talking of a 28-hour journey, he has been already trained to undertake these types of journeys. So that's the reason these people remain totally mentally agile, and they carry out the things in a perfect fashion the way it is envisaged.
So we get a lot of questions from our viewers as well, as far as these stories regarding these space missions are concerned. People are curious that do they get time to take a nap, to sleep? What you can tell us, our viewers, about that in the journey of 28 hours?
You see, human body is a human body. Beyond a particular time, you just can't survive without taking a sleep. So that's what I said. You've got 4 astronauts, there will be a workload distribution. They will have their fixed periods where they will undertake certain amount of things. Like you have seen on the International Space Station also, you've got treadmills, you've got variety of, you can say, equipments where a human body can keep itself fit. So there are a lot amount of, let's accept one fact that International Space Station is operational with human beings for last 25 years. So there is a
But what about this pod, sir? This Dragon capsule, it has a very limited space.
Yeah, but you see, that's what I'm saying, that you have been trained on it. At the end of the day, you will be able to undertake a mission provided you're trained to undertake a mission in a particular fashion. So as far as Dragon Space Capsule is also concerned, you got simulators of the same size. So everybody gets trained on it, and then only they can undertake these types of missions. Otherwise, you can see the private missions which have been taken by Richard Branson or Blue Origin. These missions where you hardly touch to altitude of around say 80 kilometers or maximum 100 kilometers, have a 5 minutes of a feeling of a weightlessness and get back. So you don't have to do anything over there. So you must have seen that people who are above 90 also have gone over there. The flights which are to the international space stations are far too different than these flights which are taken just to get some sort of a high on going to touching the space.
Yes.
So there is no major training which has been done over there. Those people also, even today, they get trained for a certain period of a time. The type of a training which you require to be undertaken on International Space Station. Because when you send a craft with 4 to 5 people to a particular altitude and retrieve that craft back, there is nothing much is to be done. But here you can see after 28 hours, you will have to do the docking part of it. So that means from your own craft, you're going to enter the International Space Station. So there are a lot of activities which are involved over here, and then you definitely require more amount of training to undertake these activities.
Sir, we all remember the first space flight of Group Captain Rakesh Sharma when he went into space on board the Soyuz spacecraft, and then while looking at India, he had a conversation with the then Indian Prime Minister, and he said that "Sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara." So even in this time, we heard the message of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, and he also took certain things with him, like even he chose an Indian Hindi song to be played on board that aircraft. That the spacecraft, what does it signify, in terms of a country, in terms of that association, and even for the mental health of an astronaut?
You see, there are many things associated with it. One is that the individual always wants to be comfortable in that particular atmosphere. So Indian definitely is going to be comfortable with Indian food. Indian is definitely going to be comfortable with Indian songs. So there are certain cultural issues which we have been taught, which we have been brought forward over a period of time. We have been brought up with these types of cultural things. So particularly when you are undertaking such high pressure missions, if you are having those types of things, it actually helps you to rejuvenate yourself in a better fashion than if you're listening to some old English song which you have never heard or something. So definitely it's related with your culture, it's related with your upbringing. And when Rakesh Sharma also said "Sare jahan se acha," I don't think so that you have got a better answer than this given by any Indian. So everybody still remembers that answer after 41 years. So one must understand that this is ingrained into our culture. This is ingrained into the culture of training activities also which have been undertaken by these astronauts.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, Group Captain Lele. And India's journey, as far as the space missions are concerned, is tremendous, and of fantastic achievements we have, we have made it to. And how do you see the progress from Mangalyaan mission to Chandrayaan mission to Gaganyaan mission? This journey, where do you see the future of India's space mission, and what kind of development in collaboration with the private sector, in ISRO, and in other partners in country?
You see, if you try to dissect India's space program, there have been a lot of advantages which India had because ISRO has been working on various small experiments which were actually leading you towards this particular aim. If you see ISRO's program in the year 2006-2007, they had conducted a program called SRE, that is Space Recovery Capsule. So in today's world, when you're going to recover the astronaut back, there's a tremendous, you must be remembering the sad incidents of death of Kalpana Chawla. Because if your thermal structure goes astray, then you just have to say bye-bye to this world. So under those circumstances, you need to develop these technologies. So India is developing all these technologies from 2005 onwards. So now all these developments are coming together. So in bits and pieces, they were developing these technologies. We are planning for a mission to Venus also.
Yes.
So there has been proper planning for many years back, when we were looking at Moon, where we are looking at Mars, when we are looking at Venus. So one can say that ISRO understands that they are in the long game of space. So they are trying their level best to develop certain technologies, and subsequently those technologies are coming very handy when you take these types of important missions.
Thank you very much for your time, Group Captain Lele, and we all are proud for this journey of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, and also we should hope that he returns to India safely, and also India's space journey should make another major strides in coming times. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.